Before you listen to anything else in this video, pause and think about this one question very carefully. How sure are you that your beliefs are actually true? Not how strongly you feel about them, not how confidently you defend them, but how sure you are that they were formed by careful thinking, not repetition. Because here is something most people never realize. The human mind does not believe ideas because they are correct. It believes them because they are familiar. If an idea enters your mind once, it is just a thought. If it enters twice, it feels interesting. If it enters 100 times, it feels obvious. And once something feels obvious, the mind stops questioning it. This is not a flaw in weak people. This is how every human brain works. Right now, as you are watching this, there are beliefs you hold with full confidence. Beliefs about yourself. Beliefs about success. Beliefs about other people. Beliefs about the world. And many of them did not come from deep reasoning. They came from echoes, repeated words, repeated ideas, repeated thoughts. This is what psychologists call the echo chamber effect. Most people think echo chambers exist only online, in politics or social media. But that is only the loudest version of it. The most powerful echo chamber is silent. It lives inside your own thinking. Let me explain this in a very simple way. Your brain is designed to save energy. Thinking deeply takes effort. Questioning ideas takes effort. So the brain uses shortcuts. One of its favorite shortcuts is familiarity. When you hear something again and again, your brain says, "I know this." And "I know this" slowly turns into "this is true." Psychologists have proven this again and again. There is a well-known finding called the illusory truth effect. It shows that people are more likely to believe a statement simply because they have heard it many times, even if the statement is false. The brain confuses repetition with truth. That is why advertising works. That is why slogans work. That is why propaganda works. That is why childhood beliefs last so long. Repetition builds belief. Now think about how early this starts. As a child, you don't question ideas. You absorb them. If you hear "you are smart," that sentence stays. If you hear "you are slow," that sentence stays. If you hear "money is bad," that sentence stays. If you hear "people cannot be trusted," that sentence stays. At first, they are just words from parents, teachers, relatives, or society. But the child repeats them internally, and repetition turns words into identity. Years later, the adult says, "This is just who I am." But what they really mean is, "This is what I heard often enough." This is why two people with the same talent can live completely different lives. One was told, "Try," the other was told, "Don't bother." Same potential, different echoes. Now let's talk about how repeated thinking shapes reality itself. Your beliefs decide what you notice. If you believe the world is unfair, your mind will notice every injustice and ignore every example of fairness. If you believe people are selfish, you will notice every selfish act and miss quiet kindness. If you believe you are unlucky, every failure becomes proof. This is called confirmation bias. Your brain does not look at reality neutrally. It filters reality through belief. So once a belief is formed, repetition does two things at the same time. It strengthens the belief, and it filters evidence to protect it. That is how echo chambers close. Now let's bring this into everyday life. Think about money. Some people grow up hearing things like "rich people are greedy," or "money changes people," or "you must suffer to be good." They hear it at home, they hear it in stories, they hear it in culture. As adults, they may say they want success, but deep inside, success feels wrong, unsafe, uncomfortable. They may work hard, but they stop themselves just before progress. They feel guilt around earning, they feel suspicion toward wealth. Not because money is evil, but because the belief was echoed long before they had a choice. Now think about education. A child struggles once in school. A teacher says, "You're not good at this." Parents repeat it. Friends joke about it. The child hears it again and again. Soon they stop trying. Years later, the adult says, "I was never good at learning." But the truth is simpler. They stopped listening because the echo was louder than curiosity. Now let's talk about anxiety, because this shows the echo chamber effect very clearly. An anxious thought appears. What if something goes wrong? The mind repeats it. Again, and again, and again. The brain hears danger repeatedly. The body reacts as if danger is real. Heart beats faster, breathing changes, muscles tense. Now the person says, "I feel anxious, so something must be wrong." The feeling becomes proof. The proof strengthens the thought repeats again, and the echo chamber grows. This is why anxiety feels so real, because it is repeated internally, not because it is always true. Now look at anger. One bad experience happens, the mind replays it. Every replay adds detail. Every replay sharpens blame. Soon, the person is not reacting to reality anymore. They are reacting to a story built by repetition. This is how grudges last years. This is how resentment grows stronger with time, even when the event is long gone. Now let's talk about social media. Social media did not invent echo chambers. It industrialized them. Every click you make teaches the algorithm who you are, what you like, what you agree with, what keeps you watching, so it shows you more of the same. Soon, your screen becomes a mirror. Everyone agrees with you, everyone supports your view. Opposing views disappear, not because they are wrong, but because they reduce engagement. Studies show that people inside online echo chambers become more extreme over time. More confident, less open, less curious. Confidence grows, understanding shrinks, and when everyone around you agrees, it feels like truth. But agreement is not evidence. Now here is something very important. Echo chambers feel good. They reduce uncertainty. They give clarity. They make the world simple. That is why people defend them. When someone challenges your belief, your brain reacts as if you are under attack. Brain scans show that belief challenges activate areas linked to pain and threat. That is why debates feel emotional. That is why facts often fail. The mind is protecting familiarity, not truth. Now ask yourself this honestly. Which beliefs in your life feel untouchable? Beliefs about yourself, beliefs about others, beliefs about society, beliefs about meaning, beliefs about God or no God. If a belief cannot be questioned without anger or fear, repetition is likely involved. So how do you recognize an echo chamber in your own thinking? One sign is emotional reaction. If disagreement makes you angry instead of curious, pause. Another sign is certainty without evidence. If something feels obviously true but you cannot explain why, repetition may be the reason. Another sign is language. Words like always, never, everyone, and no one shrink reality. Let's slow this down even more because most people miss something critical here. Echo chambers do not only decide what you believe, they decide how strongly you believe it. Two people can believe the same idea. One holds it lightly, the other holds it tightly. The difference is repetition. The more a thought repeats, the more emotional weight it carries. And emotion makes beliefs feel personal. This is why people argue not to understand, but to defend. They are not protecting an idea. They are protecting a familiar story their mind has repeated for years. Now think about how often you repeat your own thoughts. Every time something goes wrong, do you tell yourself the same explanation? People are against me. I'm unlucky. This always happens to me. Those sentences may feel harmless, but every repetition strengthens them. Over time, they stop being reactions. They become beliefs, and beliefs shape decisions. A person who believes things never work out for me will hesitate more. They will take fewer risks. They will quit earlier. Then when things fail, the mind says, "See, I told you." The echo chamber closes again. Now let's look at relationships. Someone gets hurt once. Their mind says, "People can't be trusted." That thought repeats. Every small mistake by others becomes proof. Every good moment is explained away as luck or manipulation. Eventually, the person is not responding to people anymore. They are responding to an internal echo. This is how loneliness grows even when opportunities for connection exist. Now think about beliefs around success. Some people hear repeatedly, "Success requires talent." Others hear, "Success requires luck." Others hear, "Success requires connections." If you believe success is mostly luck, effort feels pointless. If you believe success is talent, failure feels permanent. If you believe success is connections, you feel powerless. None of these beliefs appear overnight. They are echoed over time. Now, here is something very important to understand. Echo chambers reduce thinking effort. When a belief is repeated enough, the mind stops asking questions. Questions require energy. Certainty feels easier. This is why tired minds cling harder to beliefs. This is why stress makes people more rigid. This is why fear strengthens echo chambers. The brain wants quick answers, not accurate ones. Now let's talk about news and information. When people follow only one source of information, their view of reality narrows. Not because that source lies all the time, but because it selects. What you see repeatedly feels important. What you don't see feels irrelevant. Over time, the mind forgets that other perspectives exist. This is how people can live in the same world, but experience completely different realities. Now, ask yourself this. How often do you hear ideas that challenge you calmly, without ridicule? If the answer is rarely, then your thinking space is shrinking. Now, here is a key point most people misunderstand. Breaking an echo chamber does not mean abandoning your beliefs. It means weakening blind repetition. You are not trying to destroy your worldview. You are trying to clean it. Strong beliefs survive questioning. Weak ones don't. Now let's talk about inner echo chambers, because this is where real change happens. Pay attention to the sentences you repeat when you fail. Pay attention to what you tell yourself when you are tired. Pay attention to how you explain other people's behavior. Those explanations repeat quietly. And quiet repetition is the strongest kind. This is why journaling helps people. It forces thoughts out of the mind and onto paper. Once written, repetition becomes visible. This is also why silence feels uncomfortable. Without noise, the echoes get louder. Now let's make this practical. For the next few days, notice one repeated thought. Just one. Don't fight it. Don't judge it. Just notice how often it appears. You will be surprised. Then ask one simple question. Is this thought repeated because it is true or because it is familiar? That question alone weakens the echo. Now here is the final thing to understand. The echo chamber effect does not make you foolish. It makes you human. Everyone lives inside some echo chambers. The difference is awareness. Unaware people defend their beliefs aggressively. Aware people examine them quietly. And examination is where growth begins. Because once you realize that repetition shapes belief, you stop blindly trusting every thought that appears. You pause, you reflect, you choose. And that small pause is powerful. Because the mind that can pause is no longer trapped inside its own echo. Now the most important question, how do you break echo chambers without losing yourself? First, slow down repetition. Notice your inner dialogue. If you keep repeating the same negative or rigid story, interrupt it. Second, widen your input. Listen to thoughtful disagreement, not insults, not extremes, but calm opposing views. Third, separate belief from identity. Say, this is what I believe right now, not this is who I am. Fourth, ask one honest question. What evidence would change my mind? If the answer is nothing, that belief is not knowledge, it is habit. And finally, understand this. Questioning your beliefs does not make you weak. It makes you aware. Strong minds are not rigid. They are flexible. The echo chamber effect is not evil. It is natural. But once you see it, you gain choice. You stop being controlled by repeated thoughts.